Warnings to heed. In a frank interview in Yoga Journal, Ken Wilber, a yoga expert who is often called the Einstein of consciousness, warns that Eastern meditation, no matter how carefully practiced, involved, quote, a whole series of deaths and rebirths, some very rough and frightening times, end quote. David Perslove, therapist and transpersonal counselor for decades, warns that those involved in Eastern meditation can encounter, quote, frightening ESP and other parapsychological occurrences, out-of-body experiences, encounters with death and subsequent rebirth, awakening of the serpent power, the kundalini, violent shaking and twisting, end quote. The Brain Mind Bulletin warns that, quote, such experiences are common among people involved in yoga, Eastern meditation, and so on, end quote. Another expert adds his sober word of warning, quote, I advanced in the occult sphere so fast that I soon became the youngest guru in the Western Hemisphere and one of the most advanced and powerful. Twice a week I taught yoga on television. Hatha yoga sounds like a nice, simple set of exercises. Everyone thinks it is just gymnastics. I want to warn that it is just the beginning of a devilish trap. After I became an instructor in Hatha yoga, my guru showed me that the only thing these exercises do is open your appetite for the occult. They are like marijuana. They usually lead you on to a drug that is worse and stronger, binding you so completely that only Christ can deliver you. Many people think that occult power is just the power of the mind. This is not true. There is a point beyond which the power of the mind ends and the demonic power takes over, end of quote. Among the few who honestly warn the public is Dr. Walt Larimore. He explains, quote, yoga has spiritual roots. Therefore, one could argue that promoting it in schools violates the so-called separation of church and state, end quote. He warns that the deeply religious practice of yoga, with its roots in Eastern mysticism, may put kids in a position to be influenced by elements that are not at all healthy. Consider the following letter, typical of many we have received over the years. Quote, my daughter, age 43, for the past 10 years has been involved with Hatha yoga, and at the present time she is experiencing exactly what you describe in Occult Invasion, page 225, sentences 9 and 10. Violent shaking, hallucinations, murderous impulses, uncontrollable rage, trying to commit suicide. She says she would like to give up yoga and be released from the spirit of her last teacher that is currently inflicting excruciating pain upon her. We've taken her to see several doctors, but they've been of no help. Her mother and I are at our wits' end. Please help if you can. End of quote. Of course, nothing like this horror was even hinted at by those who taught her yoga as a supposedly healthful daily practice, which was promoted as purely physical. Demonic invasion of her mind and body was the last thing she had in mind when she began to practice Hatha yoga, but it happened to her, and she is typical of many, many others. It is our hope and prayer that this volume will be the means of delivering many before it is too late.